Presenting the transcription feature, Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, who can leap tall buildings at a single bound, race a speeding bullet to its target, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice. But before we join Superman, listen.
And now to our story. In response to Editor Perry White's urgent telegram, Clark Kent, Lois Lane, and young Jimmy Olsen are speeding back to Metropolis aboard the Tri-State Limited, puzzled as to the reason for White's almost frantic summons. As we join them in a drawing room, the cracked streamlined express is thundering through the night.
Jimmy, you don't have to finish that box of candy in one sitting.
I've only had 5 pieces.
Only 5 pieces? Now go on, put the cover on the box. That's all we need now is take you off the train with a stomach ache. Clark?
Yes, Lois?
I don't suppose you've had any bright ideas.
Bright ideas?
You know what I mean. Have you thought of any reasons for Mr. White wanting us back in such a hurry?
Now, look, Lois, it's 10:30 now. We just pulled out of Glenwood. The next stop is Walden Junction and then Metropolis, the end of the line. In exactly 27 minutes, you'll know all the answers.
Really, there are times when you can be the most exasperating person. How you can sit there with your nose buried in a newspaper is beyond me. Haven't you any curiosity?
Maybe the Daily Planet building burned down.
Don't be ridiculous, Jimmy.
Well, you can't tell.
Clark,
Yes?
exactly what did Mr. White say in the telegram?
Well, not very much. I told you.
You weren't very specific.
Well, neither was he.
Maybe a German spy set a bomb off.
Jimmy, little boys should be seen and not heard.
I'm not little, and a German spy could set off a bomb, couldn't he?
Yes, he could. Clark, haven't you any idea what Mr. White wants?
Oh, Lois, I wish you'd stop eating your heart out. We'll know exactly what he wants the moment we get in.
Do you think he'll meet us at the station?
I'm sure I don't know.
Talking to you is like talking to a brick wall. All right, go on, read your paper. As far as I'm concerned, I don't care.
Who's that?
Come in.
Excuse me, I got a telegram from Mr. Kent.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome, sir. You're welcome.
Well, why don't you open it?
I will. It's not going to fly away.
Jimmy, I said no more candy.
Oh, just 1 piece.
I said no more.
Okay.
This is strange.
Strange?
Yes.
What do you mean, Clark?
Another telegram from Mr. White.
Gosh.
What does it say?
Listen. We'll meet you and Jimmy at Walden Junction. Tell Lois to proceed to Metropolis and report at office. Signed, Perry White.
Well, I don't understand that.
Mr. Kent and me are supposed to...
And I...
Mr. Kent and I are supposed to get off at Walden Junction. That's the next stop. And you're supposed to go on to Metropolis. That's right, isn't it, Mr. Kent?
According to the telegram.
What's the idea?
I don't know, Lois. But orders are orders. Now, everything packed, Jimmy?
Yeah, except the candy. I'll carry that.
Clark, what's behind all this?
You know as much about it as I do. Yeah, that sounds like the station whistle. We'll be pulling in a minute or so. Put your coat on, Jim.
Why can't I get off at Walden Junction, too?
Well, I can think of one very good reason. Mr. White wants you to get off at Metropolis.
Something very strange about this whole business. Something I don't like. You're tossing it off much too lightly, Clark.
No, I'm not. But there's one thing you've got to remember, Lois. A good soldier takes orders.
I suppose so.
Come on, Jim. See you at the office, Lois.
Oh, boy. How much longer are we going to hang around the station, Mr. Kent? Gee whiz, that cold wind goes right through me.
Well, go into the waiting room, Jimmy. It's platform there.
No, I'd rather stick with you.
I don't understand this at all. That telegram was clear enough.
Oh, are you sure it said to get off at Walden Junction?
Positive. Right. Here it is. Now, let's look at it under that light there.
What does it say?
We'll meet you and Jimmy at Walden Junction.
Well, this is Walden Junction, all right. And here's Mr. White. We've been waiting here for almost... What's the matter, Mr. Kent?
Jimmy, we've been tricked.
Tricked? What do you mean?
This telegram is a fake. It was written on a typewriter. I should have noticed that a long time ago.
Golly. But why should anyone send us a fake
There could
telegram?
only be one reason to separate us from Lois.
You mean...
Now, look, Jimmy, there's no time to waste. You trust me, don't you?
Why, sure.
Now, listen carefully. There's a local train coming through in 15 minutes. Now, here's some money. You buy a ticket and ride into Metropolis.
What?
Go right to the office.
You mean alone?
Yes, I have important work to do, and it must be done fast.
Oh, but
You said you trusted me, Jim.
Okay.
Good boy. Now, you stay in the waiting room until the train pulls in. If you get to the office before I do, keep mum about all this, understand?
Uh-huh.
So long.
So long.
Kick myself for falling for that fake telegram. Oh, maybe it's not too late. Maybe I can still catch the limited as Superman. Oh, Jimmy can't see me now. Just stepped into the waiting room. Up, and away!
Streaking through the darkness, Superman follows the steel rails like a bird in flight. Picks up the Tri-State Limited halfway between Walden Junction and Metropolis. Dropping to the darkened observation platform, he enters the train as Clark Kent and hurries to the drawing room in which he left Lois.
Ah, this is it. Drawing room C, car 42. Lois! Lois! That's funny. What? The door's locked. Lois! Lois! I don't understand it. Oh, Porter. Can you unlock this door for me?
Yes, Great day in the morning.
Oh, what's the matter?
Didn't you all get off at Walden Junction?
Yes, but I got on again. Can you unlock this door?
Well, there's a lady in that drawing room.
I know there is. The young lady who was with me. You remember, don't you?
Yes. Don't you answer?
No. Have you a key?
Yes, sir. Right here. I'll just see how you get off at
Hurry,
Walden
please.
Junction. Yes, sir. Right here. There's her. She's open now.
Thank you. The room's empty.
Well, no, sir. That can't be.
I tell you, it's empty.
Oh, the train's halted, then. It's up. Come down.
Yes?
Clark Kent is back, Mr. White.
Oh, here's, is he? Well, you'll send him in. I'll give him a piece of my mind. What's he think we're running here? A high school yearbook?
Hello, Mr. White.
Close the door. Now, Kent, what's the big
Just
guy?
a minute, please. Something serious has happened.
I'm glad you realize
I'm afraid you don't know what I'm talking about, Mr. White.
Oh, no, of course not. I'm a dope, an addle-pated fool.
Now, just a minute.
I don't understand
Well,
English.
you can hold your temper and check for a moment. I'd like to discuss something with you.
No, you would. Well, where were you when I returned from Washington?
Now, look.
Did it ever occur to you that I might want to discuss something with you once in a while?
Take it easy, will you? You knew we were at the Barrow Ranch with Jimmy. As a matter of fact, we were just leaving when your telegram arrived.
My telegram?
Yes.
Are you crazy?
Well, you said you wanted us back at once, that something important had come up.
Ah, you're out of your mind.
What?
In the first place, I didn't know where you were. In the second place, if I had telegraphed, it would have been to tell you that you're fired.
Wait a minute. You mean to say you didn't send me a wire early this evening at 7 o'clock?
I did not.
Oh, wait a minute. Am I crazy?
I wouldn't be a bit surprised. Oh, where's Lois?
One thing at a time, Mr. White. You did send a wire to the Barrow Ranch, didn't you?
No, I didn't. Now, listen, Kent.
I don't understand this.
There are a few things that I don't understand either. Now, where's Lois?
I don't know.
Wasn't she with you?
Yes, but she disappeared off the train.
What?
Now, wait.
Disappeared off the...
Please, let's get things straight. It wasn't you who sent the first telegram.
How many times do I have to...
All right.
Kent, if this is your idea of a joke...
It's no joke, Mr. White. It's pretty serious. Now, listen to me. Jimmy ran into some trouble at the Barrow Dude Ranch. Lois and I went up to straighten it out. We were about to return when a wire came through signed by you. It said to come back at once. Something important had come up.
I didn't wire you or anyone else.
I suppose not, if you say so. Well, anyway, we took the first train out, the Tri-State Limited. Just after we pulled out of Glenwood, the porter gave me a telegram. Again, it was signed with your name, and it said for Jimmy and myself to get off at Walden Junction and for Lois to go on to Metropolis.
I never sent that telegram either.
I know it. That one was a fake, but I fell for it. Jimmy and I got off. We waited around for 10 minutes before I realized the telegram wasn't authentic. Then I followed the train.
How?
Why, I hired a car.
You mean to say you caught the Limited in a car?
Well, you see, it was a fast car. I mean...
All right. Go ahead. Now, what happened?
Well, I got aboard the train. The door to Lois's drawing room was locked. The porter opened it, but she wasn't there.
Probably in the club car.
No, she wasn't. We searched the train thoroughly. She wasn't on board.
Kent, do you expect me to swallow that? The Limited doesn't stop between Walden Junction and Metropolis. She couldn't have gotten off.
Mr. White, I tell you, she wasn't on that train. She's gone. Vanished.
Now, look, Kent. Wait a minute. Perry White speaking.
Hello, Mr. White.
Lois.
Is Clark Kent there?
Yes, he is. But where under the sun are you?
Look, let me speak to Clark quickly.
Yes, but I know that... Oh, all right. Here, Kent. She wants to speak to you.
Okay. Lois, what in the name of
Look, I
heaven...
haven't much time, Clark. Listen, don't worry. Everything is all right. I'll call you at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning.
But, Lois, you...
Goodbye.
Wait a minute, look. She hung up.
Listen, Kent. What's this all about?
Ordered back to Metropolis by an urgent telegram from editor Perry White, Clark Kent, Lois Lane, and young Jimmy Olsen left the Barrow Dude Ranch and caught the Tri-State Limited for the city. En route, Kent received another telegram from Perry White telling him to get off at Walden Junction with Jimmy and instructing Lois to continue on to Metropolis. When no one met them at the Walden Junction station, Kent examined the telegram closely and decided it was a fake. Leaving Jimmy to take the next train, Kent followed the Limited as Superman. Once on board, he resumed his reporter's disguise, only to find that Lois had vanished, was nowhere on the train. At the Daily Planet office, Kent was faced with more mystery. Editor White denied having sent the first telegram summoning them back. Puzzled, Kent was at a loss to explain what had happened to Lois or who was responsible for the mystery, when the phone rang and Lois' excited voice sounded over the wire. "I haven't time to explain," she said. "Everything's all right. I'll call you tomorrow morning at 10. And with that, she hung up. As our story continues today, both Kent and Perry White have spent a sleepless night worrying. It's 5 minutes to 10, and the two men are seated in White's office awaiting Lois's call.
There's something missing in your story, Kent. It just doesn't make sense.
I'm the first one to admit that, Mr. White. But there's nothing missing. I told you everything had happened.
Well, how did Lois get off the train, as you seem to think she did, if it didn't stop between Walden Junction and Metropolis?
If I could answer that, I wouldn't be sitting here waiting for a phone call.
It's a lot of nonsense. She was on that train. You just couldn't find her. Probably didn't want you to find her.
Well, now, does that make sense?
Well, why not? Maybe she ran across a good story and didn't want you to horn in on it.
What about the telegram to the Barrow Ranch? She couldn't have sent that. What about the telegram I received on the train?
Wouldn't surprise me if she framed all that up to get you out of the way.
I doubt it. That must be Lois.
I'll take it. Hello?
Mr. White,
Lois, where are you?
I can't tell you now.
What do you mean?
Believe me, I just can't. Is Clark there?
Yes?
Let me speak to him.
You'll finish with me first. Now, look here, young lady.
Please, Mr. White, this is important. Put Clark on.
All right. Here.
That anyway. That at least gives us a point.
We've got to work fast.
Now, Lois, wait a minute.
Now, listen to me. I've uncovered the biggest story of the century.
Where are you?
Never mind that now. Listen, I need $20,000 in cash immediately.
I know.
I said that I need $20,000 in cash immediately.
Wait a minute. She says she needs $20,000 immediately.
Is she crazy? Let me talk to her.
No, wait. Lois, why must you have all that money?
Don't ask questions, Clark. Tell Mr. White that he'll get it back, but I've got to have it by noon today. Send Jimmy with it. Tell him to deliver it to, Now, wait a minute. You'd better let Mr. White bring it himself.
Now, look, Lois.
And stick around the office, because I'll have to phone the story into you when it breaks.
Lois, what in heaven's name is
Tell
this?
Mr. White to bring the money to 407 South Street. You got that? Now, I'll be waiting there for him. I've got to go now.
Lois, wait a minute. I want... Oh. She hung up.
And what's this about $20,000? Is she out of her mind?
Oh, she said you're to deliver it to her at 407 South Street before noon.
Huh?
Yes, and I'm to stay here to get the story when she phones it in.
Story? What story?
I don't know. The biggest story of the century, she said.
No story on earth is worth $20,000.
She said you'd get the money back.
And I'm to deliver it?
Yes. To 407 South Street.
Well, I can promise you it won't leave my hands until I'm certain I'll get it back. And, how does she want it? Cash or check, did she say?
Cash.
All right. But if this doesn't pan out, Miss Lane is going to be out looking for a job. I'm fed up with her shenanigans.
Lois wouldn't pull anything like this as a joke.
Well, I hope not. I'll have to call Darwin, the cashier, and have him run over to the bank. Did she say anything about big bills or small bills?
No, just $20,000 in cash.
No, this newspaper business is a madhouse. Oh, Miss Harvey, get Darwin, the cashier. Tell him I want to see him immediately. Yes, that's all.
Gosh, I don't understand what Lois can possibly have up her sleeve. My mind's a complete blank.
If you ask me, hers is, too. But don't worry. Nobody gets a dime of that $20,000 until I see what's what. Come in.
You wanted to see me, Mr. White?
Yes, Darwin. Come in. You know Clark Kent?
Yes, of course.
Hello, Mr. Darwin.
Darwin, I want you to issue a check for $20,000.
20,000?
Yes. Make it out to me. I'll endorse it. And then send it down to the bank and get the cash.
You mean you want $20,000 in cash, Mr. White?
Yeah. Have it issued in $1,000 bills. And you better hurry. There isn't much time. Well, what are you waiting for?
$20,000 in cash.
I'm in a hurry, Darwin. Get going.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. $20,000.
Now, what was that address, Kent?
407 South Street.
What time is it?
10:15.
Mm-hmm. And she said to deliver the money before noon, didn't she?
Yes. Maybe I'd better go along with you, Mr. White.
What? Don't you think I can be trusted?
Oh, it's not bad, but I just thought...
I won't need any bodyguard. And anyway, you're supposed to stay here to write the story of the century when Lois phones it in. Story of the century. I'll lay 10 to 1 this is all a lot of nonsense.
I don't think so.
We'll find out soon enough. I'm going down for a cup of coffee. You hang around. When Darwin comes back with a check, tell him to wait.
Okay.
If anyone calls, I'll be back in 10 minutes.
Right. What in heaven's name would Lois need with $20,000? Oh, sir, there's something wrong somewhere. Now I'm going to check just for fun. Operator, get me information, please, will you? Thank you. If I only knew how and where she got off that train, I might be able to see...
This is information.
Oh, information. I'd like the telephone number of a house at 407 South Street.
What is the name of the party?
I'm sorry, I don't have the name, just the address. 407 South Street.
One moment, please.
Thank you. Come in. Oh, yes, Mr. Darwin.
I have the check for Mr. White to enjoy.
Yes, come in and sit down, will you? Mr. White will be up in a moment.
I'm sorry, sir, but we have no number listed for 407 South Street.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. White went down for a cup of coffee, Mr. Darwin. He should be back in a moment.
It's quite all right, Mr. Kent.
Won't you sit down?
Thank you. You excuse me if I seem a little nervous.
Nervous? Why, what's the trouble?
Well, $20,000 in cash is a lot of money, Mr. Kent.
Oh, yeah.
I'll have to go to the bank for it myself. I wouldn't dare trust anyone else. $20,000. I've never seen that much money at one time, ever.
Oh, here's Mr. White.
Oh, yes, sir.
You got that check, Darwin?
Yes, sir, right here.
Good. I'll endorse it. Now, why in tarnation's name that secretary of mine can't learn to keep ink in this desk is beyond me. It's always empty.
Yeah, I have a fountain pen, Mr. White. Right there.
Thanks. There you are, Darwin. Now get the cash back to me as fast as you can.
Yes, sir.
Oh, wait a minute. Here's your pen.
Oh, thank you, sir. I wouldn't want to lose it. I always say a man's pen is perhaps the most...
Yes, of course, Darwin, of course. Now get that check cashed quickly.
I'm going to the bank myself, Mr. White.
Fine, but don't waste any time.
No, sir.
Anyone call, Kent?
No, but I checked on 407 South Street. No phone.
So what? Every house in Metropolis isn't equipped with a telephone.
I know.
Some of them haven't even got bathtubs. Does that surprise you?
You don't seem to be taking this seriously, Mr. White.
What do you want me to do? Call out the state militia?
Well, hardly, but I do wish you'd let me go along with you. After all, $20,000 is a lot of money to be carrying around with you. Anything might happen.
Now, don't worry. Nothing's going to happen.
All right. You're the boss. I got some work to do in my own office. I'll be waiting for the story.
And don't hold your breath.
Well, it's 12 noon. I should have heard from Mr. White or Lois by this time. Wonder whether... Oh, maybe that's the call. Hello?
Kent?
Yes, Mr. White. Well, I wondered what happened to you.
Everything's okay. Lois uncovered a whale of a story.
Oh, that's swell. I'm ready to take it.
We can't give it to you yet.
What?
No. Now, listen.
Yes?
I'll need another $20,000.
Well, what?
Yes, and I must have it fast.
Well, wait a minute now. How am I going to get it? Darwin won't give it to me.
Who?
Darwin, the cashier.
Oh, yes. Well, tell him I said it was okay.
That won't be enough. What are you doing with all that money?
Never mind. I'll call Darwin directly and tell him to give the money to you. Deliver to 407 South Street as fast as you can.
What's this all about, Mr. White?
I can't tell you now, but it's terrific.
Well...
I'll call Darwin. And don't waste a second getting over here.
Yeah, but
So long.
Mr. White, where are you calling from? Mr. White? Hello? Hello? Hello, Mr. White?
I'm sorry, sir, but your party disconnected.
Okay, can you trace the call?
We have no way of tracing a call once the party disconnects, sir.
Oh, all right, thank you. Something very queer about all this. And I think I
don't quite understand it, Mr. Kent. It's very puzzling.
What did Mr. White say when he called you?
Simply to issue another check for $20,000, cash it at the bank, and turn the money over to you. He was very explicit about it.
Well, you don't have to bother, Mr. Darwin.
You mean I'm not to issue the check?
That is exactly what I mean.
Mr. Kent, I received definite orders from Mr. White.
I know. Just ignore them.
Oh, but how can I? I've been with the Daily Planet 20 years, Mr. Kent, and I've never disobeyed an order yet.
Well, don't you worry. I'll take full responsibility for this. I'm going down to see Mr. White, and I'll tell him I countermanded the order.
Oh, you know where he is?
Yes, at 407 South Street. Miss Lane is with him.
Oh, I see. Hadn't you better take the money with you, Mr. Kent?
No, he really doesn't need it.
Doesn't need it?
No.
Strange. Over the telephone, Mr. White said it was imperative he have the money immediately.
Don't you worry about it, Mr. Darwin. I'll explain everything to Mr. White.
I don't know, Mr. Kent. Is there any way of reaching Mr. White by phone?
I'm afraid there isn't. But I'll be seeing him shortly, and I promise you I'll straighten everything out.
I hope so, Mr. Kent. I wouldn't want Mr. White to think I deliberately disobeyed him.
Well, he won't. Now, I've got to go now.
You'll be sure to explain my position to Mr. White.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's 407, mister, over there, the house with the rooming sign.
Oh, good. What do I owe you?
65.
Okay, wait a minute. Here you are.
Yeah, thanks.
Now, let's see what we have here. Rooms for rent, day or week. That's a strange place to uncover the story of the century. Well, let's see. No name on the bell. Probably doesn't even ring. Surprise, it does ring. And someone's coming to answer it. A woman. How do you do? I have an appointment here with Mr. White.
Oh, yes, come in, please.
Thank you.
You're Mr. Kent, aren't you?
That's right.
Won't you step into the parlor? Mr. White should be back any minute now.
Oh, you mean he isn't here?
No, but he'll be back shortly. He told me to ask you to wait.
Oh, I see. Is Miss Lane here?
Miss Lane?
Yes.
Oh, you mean the young lady from the newspaper?
That's right.
She's with Mr. White. Just have a seat and make yourself comfortable.
Thank you.
You'll find some magazines on the table. If you'll excuse me, I have a pie in the oven.
Oh, that's all right. Go right ahead.
I'm sure Mr. White won't be long.
Thank you. Yeah, this is getting stranger by the moment. What sort of a place this is? Looks like a theatrical rooming house. Those signed pictures of actors and actresses on the wall. Great Scott. There's a telephone. Information told me there was no phone listed for this address. Oh, well, maybe it's disconnected. Oh, it certainly is not. Maybe I'd better answer it.
I thought I heard the telephone. Hello?
Mrs. Walsh? Is Mr. Kent there?
Just a moment. It's for you. I think it's Mr. White.
Oh, thank you. Hello?
Kent? Harry White.
Well, where are you?
I had to go out for a while. You got the money?
Why, no, I...
Oh, why not? Where is it?
Well, you see, Mr. White, I thought...
No, wait a minute. Look here, Kent. When I give an order, I expect it to be carried out.
Yes, I know, but...
I called Darwin, and I told him...
I know, Mr. White. Darwin wanted to give me the money, but I thought
Now, wait a minute. I'll do all the thinking. I need that money, and I need it immediately.
Well, I just thought
I'll get back to the office. Tell Darwin to cash the check and send it over.
All right, I'll bring it myself.
No, you won't. You stay at the office.
But...
This is going to break soon.
Well, who'll I send it with?
Jimmy Olsen.
Oh, now, wait a minute, Mr. White. I don't want Jimmy carrying $20,000 in cash.
Well, all right. Tell Darwin to bring it over. If I'm not there when he arrives, instruct him to give it to Mrs. Walsh.
Who?
Mrs. Walsh, the landlady.
Oh.
She answered the phone.
Yeah, okay.
Now, Kent, don't you waste any time.
All right, I won't. Oh, Mr. White, is Lois with you?
Yes, she is.
Oh, well, may I speak with her?
No, not now.
Yeah, but she's
busy. Now, get going, Kent. Get going.
All right. Oh, Mrs. Walsh.
Yes?
May I see you a moment?
Oh, are you leaving, Mr. Kent?
Yes, it won't be necessary for me to wait for Mr. White.
I see.
An elderly gentleman will be delivering a package here within the hour. If Mr. White hasn't returned, will you please accept it?
Yes, of course.
Thank you very much.
I'll open the door.
Well,
There.
well, goodbye.
Goodbye, Mr. Kent.
Oh, good. This taxi is just what I'm looking for.
Yes, sir?
The Daily Planet building.
Right.
And, you'd better step on it. Oh, come in, Mr. Darwin.
Thank you. You wanted to see me, Mr. Kent?
Yes, I spoke to Mr. White, and you were quite correct. He wants that money, the second $20,000.
Yes, I was quite sure he did. He was very emphatic about it when he spoke to me.
Yes, well, you're to issue a check, cash it, and deliver the money to him at 407 South Street as soon as possible.
I'm to deliver it?
Yes, and in case Mr. White isn't there, leave the package with Mrs. Walsh, the landlady at that address.
Of course, Mr. Kent, I'll do anything you say, but I don't particularly like the idea of being responsible for that much currency.
Well, we're just following orders, Darwin, you and I.
Yes, I suppose you're right. Well, I'll get down to the bank immediately.
Yes, you'd better jot down the address, too. 407 South Street.
No, I'll remember it.
All right.
You don't know what Mr. White's doing with all this money, do you, Mr. Kent?
I haven't the faintest idea, Darwin. He hasn't let me in on his little secret.
Certainly seems like a secret, doesn't it? Well, I'll be getting along.
All right. Oh, if you see Mr. White, tell him I'll be waiting for his call, will you?
All right, sir, I will.
Thanks. Clark Kent speaking.
Hello, Clark.
Lois.
Did that money leave yet?
Well, Darwin, the cashier, is on his way over with it. Lois, for the love of heaven, what's this all about?
I can't tell you now, Clark, but it's a terrific story. You say that Darwin left with the money.
Yes. Will you tell me why you need $40,000?
You'll find out. Incidentally, Mrs. Walsh said that you were a very handsome young man.
Yes, that's another thing. Who's Mrs. Walsh? And what are you and Mr. White doing at a rooming house?
Getting the biggest story of the century? I think you're just jealous because you're not in on it.
Oh, don't be ridiculous. Lois, are you sure all this is on the level? It looks suspicious to me.
Suspicious?
Yes.
What do you mean?
Oh, I don't know. I just don't like the looks of it.
Well, you will when we're ready to phone the story in. I've got to go now. Just sit tight, Clark. So long.
Oh, Lois, wait. Oh. She hung up. Well, orders or no orders, I'm going down to 407 South Street and sit there until either Lois or White shows up. Come in.
Hello, Mr. Kent.
What? You...
I don't blame you for staring at me, but really, I'm not a ghost.
Lois.
I wanted to speak to you before seeing Mr. White.
Now, wait a minute. I just talked to you over the phone just a second ago.
You what?
I talked to you over the phone.
No, not me. I haven't been near a phone for 24 hours.
You mean to say you didn't call this morning and ask for $20,000?
Are you crazy?
Well, I'm beginning to think so.
Yeah.
Where have you been all this time?
Well, it's a long, strange story.
Well, now, wait. Before you tell it to me, let's get a few things straightened out. Did you or didn't you call here last night, this morning, and less than a minute ago?
I told you, Clark. I haven't been near a phone.
Yeah, all right. Weren't you at 407 South Street?
Where?
407 South Street, a rooming house.
Never heard of the place.
Weren't you with Mr. White?
Of course not. Hey, Clark, have you lost your mind?
Lois, I think I have. Where you been? That's what I want to know. And what's this all about?
Clark, I've told you I don't know what you're talking about.
Now, look, Lois, let's get a few things straight. We were coming back from the Bar O Jude Ranch, remember?
Well, of course I
All right, and we got a telegram on the train telling us to get off at Walden Junction, the station just before Metropolis.
Yes.
Right?
That's right.
Jimmy and I were to get off, and you were to come on here.
That's right.
Now,
and...
wait a minute. Let me finish. After Jimmy and I got off, I discovered that the telegram was a fake. And I got back on the train.
Well, how could you have gotten back on the train? I waved goodbye to you from the window.
Oh.
The train must have left before you discovered the telegram was a fake.
Well, I hired a car, a fast car.
Oh, how could you?
Well, never mind that. The important thing is when I got back on the train, you were gone. Now, you had disappeared somewhere between Walden Junction and Metropolis.
I had.
You had?
I wasn't on the train.
No.
I didn't get off at Metropolis Station.
Well, of course you didn't. You couldn't have. Don't you remember what happened to you?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I did come into Metropolis on that train. I did get off at the Metropolis Station, and I did come straight on here to the office.
But you couldn't have.
Oh, all right, then. I didn't.
Then what did you do?
I don't know. You tell me. You seem to know what I did better than I do.
Now, look here, Lois. This is no time to get sulky. Something strange going on here. Something even I can't understand.
Oh, something you can't even understand. Well, you'll just have to try harder, Superman.
What did you say?
I said you'll just have to try harder, Superman.
Lois, do you think that I am Superman?
No. But apparently you think so at times.
Now, look, Lois, all kidding aside, what's been the meaning of all these telephone calls you and White have been making asking for $20,000, $40,000 in all?
Clark, you're out of your mind.
I'm beginning to think so.
I haven't made any telephone calls asking for $20,000.
What?
And as far as I know, Mr. White hasn't either.
Have you seen him?
No, I haven't seen him.
Well, this is certainly all beyond me. You're not on a train, yet you swear you were.
That's right.
You didn't get off the train to Metropolis, but you insist you did. You telephoned here several times asking Editor White to bring $20,000 in cash because you need it to cinch a terrific news story. And you say you haven't been near a phone. There's something crazy about all this.
There certainly is. You.
All right. You win. I'm out of my mind. I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, nothing new about that.
I'm going out for some air. I've got to clear my head, give myself a chance to think. I'll see you later.
Okay.
It doesn't make sense, and it's got to. I've got to make it make sense. Oh, that office there is empty. I'll just step in there. Oh, Lois, I was going out for a little air. Well, I will. But I think I'll take my little constitutional as Superman. And I might just as well head in the direction of the theatrical boarding house on South Street. Open this window. Up, and away! Wonder why Mrs. Walsh doesn't answer. Oh, here comes someone now.
Yes?
I'm Clark Kent of the Daily Planet.
Yes?
Is Mrs. Walsh at home? Who? Mrs. Walsh. The woman who runs this boarding house.
Oh, I see. You've got the wrong address, young fellow.
This is 407 South Street, isn't it?
Yes, but it isn't a boarding house. Never has been. It's just a private residence.
Look here, I don't mean to intrude, but there's something rather strange going on, something I'm trying to investigate. May I come in and look around?
Well, yes, I suppose so. Come right in.
Thank you. What would your name be, sir?
Dr. Hendricks. I'm a psychiatrist. Retired, of course, and live here by myself. You sure you feel all right, young man?
Yes, I feel all right. Except...
Yeah? Except for what?
Well, this isn't the place at all. And yet it is.
Now, that's impossible, young man. The thing is, or it is not.
No, not in this case. I know I came to this house before. It was a theatrical boarding house then, run by a Mrs. Walsh. There were theatrical pictures on the walls, photographs and all that. The wallpaper was different. The furniture was different. In fact, everything was different.
Have you ever suffered from this sort of delusion before?
No, just a minute, sir. I'm not suffering from any delusion.
Well, of course you'd believe you weren't. It wouldn't be a delusion if you knew you had one.
No, I suppose not. And yet...
If you don't mind my saying so, I'm afraid you must be suffering from a case of false memory.
False?
You know, sometimes we see things and believe implicitly that we saw them before. We doctors know that as false memory. You didn't actually see the thing, and...
I tell you, I was in this very house. Oh, what's the use? I'm sorry to trouble you, Doctor. Good day.
Just a moment.
Yes?
I don't feel I ought to let you go without making some attempt to help you. Come into my office and we'll have a chat.
You think I'm crazy, don't you?
Oh, certainly not.
Oh, yes, you do. I can tell in the way you look at me.
None at all. You see, you're imagining things again. Now, you just come into my office and we'll get this whole thing straightened out. When did this strange trouble first come over you?
I'm sorry, but I haven't time to discuss it. Thanks again, and goodbye.
I assure you, young man, that with a few treatments...
Yes, I know.
Get at the seat of your trouble.
Am I going crazy? Am I really imagining all this? Dreaming it? I must be. Lois never got off the train, she says. And she didn't telephone. I go to a theatrical boarding house and interview a Mrs. Walsh. And then it develops that neither she nor the boarding house actually exists at all. But what's happened to me? Mine isn't any ordinary brain. I'm not given to delusions and... No, by heavens, I'm right. I'm not imagining all this. It did happen. And Lois must know something about it. It's back to the Daily Planet for me as Superman. Up, and away! Bill, have you seen Miss Lane?
No, Mr. Kent. She went out just a minute or two after you did. Said she'd be back in a little while.
Okay, I'll wait in her office.
Okay.
She's playing some kind of trick on me. If this is a gag...
Clark!
So there you are. Now, look, Lois. I've thought this thing out. And I'm here to get a few matters settled with you.
Clark, listen to me.
No, you listen to me. Lois, as I say, I've thought the whole thing out. And there's only one conclusion I can come to. You were not on that train. Something did happen to you between Walden Junction and Metropolis. You never did come back to the office. Now, don't deny it, Lois.
Deny it? Clark, are you out of your mind?
No, I'm not. You're not going to make me believe I am. You were not on that train, Lois. Now, admit it.
Of course I admit it.
What?
Why do you think I've come here? Why do you think I've been trying to escape from those people for days? And
What?
Of course I wasn't on the train. I was taken off it. Kidnapped.
Oh, Lois, for heaven's sake. Now, wait a minute. What in the world is going on here?
That's what I'm trying to tell you. After the train left Walden Junction, I went into my compartment.
Yes.
There was a man there. Before I could cry out, he put his hand over my mouth, and I smelled chloroform.
I don't know how the train was made to stop or how they got me off it. But the next thing I remember, I was locked up in a room that I'd never seen before.
You were...
Yes.
Lois, what made you decide to tell me this? Why didn't you admit all this when you talked to me half an hour ago?
Talked to you half an hour ago?
Yes, that's right.
Clark, what in the world are you saying?
Why? Wait a minute. You mean to stand there and tell me you haven't seen me in 2 days?
Of course I haven't seen you in 2 days.
Oh, uh-huh. But you were talking to me right here in this office only half an hour ago.
I couldn't have been. Clark, what's the matter with you? Why won't you understand what I'm trying to tell you?
Because I can't believe it. It doesn't make sense. More than that, it's the craziest thing I ever ran up against. Half an hour ago, you sat right there in that chair, refusing to admit that something did happen to you on the train. That you did disappear off that train between Walden Junction and Metropolis.
I refuse to admit it.
You certainly did. You also refused to admit that you had made any telephone calls demanding $20,000.
But I did make those calls. They forced me to make them. They wanted the money as ransom.
Oh, you're admitting it now, all right. But you wouldn't admit it half an hour ago. Now that you're admitting all these things, you turn right around and refuse to confess that you were right here in this office half an hour ago. You're trying to make me believe that I haven't seen you in 2 days.
Clark, look, I know that you must believe what you're saying, but it isn't true. I couldn't have been here. I only escaped from that room, that locked room down near the waterfront, just half an hour ago.
And one of us is crazy. You were here in this office? Yes, by heaven, I can prove it. Now, just a minute. Bill! Oh, Bill!
Yeah, Mr. Kent?
Come in here a minute, please. Sure. Bill, 10 minutes ago, on my way in here, I asked you if Miss Lane was in her office. What did you say?
Well, I said, no, she wasn't.
And what else did you say?
What else?
Yes, what else?
Well, nothing that I know of.
Oh, Bill, think hard.
Yeah?
Didn't you say she went out just after you did and said she'd be back in a few minutes? Now, didn't you say that?
Well, not that I remember.
Now, where is all this getting us? Here I come to you for help, and you do nothing but talk nonsense to me. Clark, do you realize that I have been held for ransom? That right now the people who kidnapped me may be getting away with $20,000 of Mr. White's money?
Oh.
Wait a minute. Let me talk to Mr. White. He'll understand. He'll do something.
White? Do you really mean to tell me you don't know that Mr. White brought the $20,000 to you at the address you gave us on the phone?
He actually did bring the money?
Of course he did.
Well, he couldn't have, Clark. If he had brought it, they'd have released me. Oh, no, maybe they wouldn't have at that. But heavens, Clark, what about Mr. White? They must have captured him, too.
I don't know what this is all about, but I guess you're right, and as far as White is concerned, I haven't seen him since he left here with the $20,000. All I know is he called up and wanted $20,000 more.
Did you send it?
No. Countermanded the order, refused to let Darwin, the cashier, take it to him. Then I went down to the address you had given me. It turned out to be a theatrical boarding house run by a Mrs. Walsh.
Yes, that sounds like the place. Go on.
Well, she told me you and White were out, working on this mysterious scoop of yours, and that she didn't know when you'd be back. Well, I didn't wait. This afternoon I went down there again to talk to her, and the house is gone.
The house is gone?
Well, if it is the same house, the inside has changed considerably. Found an old man who claimed to be a doctor, a psychiatrist. The inside of the place was entirely different. The furniture, the pictures, everything, even the wallpaper.
Now, look here, Clark. I don't understand all this any more than you do, but as sure as I'm standing here, I do know this. I was kidnapped off that train and held for $20,000 ransom.
Yes, I know.
Mr. White is being held now.
Sure.
The address was 407 South Street. I know that definitely, too.
So do I.
I don't care whether it's a theatrical boarding house or a Siamese temple. That's the house, and we're going down there right now.
All right. We might as well start trying to clear this up someplace. Come on, let's go. Oh, excuse me, Bill.
Sorry.
No, you were still... What are you staring at me that way for?
I just got one question I'd like to ask.
All right. What is it?
Are you crazy or am I?
Oh, get out of my way. Come on, Lois. All right. Now, here we are, right across the street from that house. Now, take a good look at it.
I have.
All right. Now, is it or is it not the house you were kept prisoner in?
It is? Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Yes, sure.
Is that the house that you went to for the first time? The theatrical boarding house?
Without a doubt.
And it's the same house that you went to the second time?
It certainly is.
Yeah.
Well, we'll check on that anyway. That at least gives us a point to come back to when we start getting all mixed up again. All right, come on.
Where are you going?
Into that house, of course.
Wait a minute, Clark.
What do you mean?
Whoever's in there, they may be killers. Don't you think you'd better call the police?
Oh, no. Oh, no. If I left here now, by the time I got back, I'm sure that house wouldn't be there anymore. The street probably wouldn't be here either. And the taxi cab would certainly have turned into a dog sled. Come on.
Oh, all right. No one answers.
Someone will. Probably won't be my psychiatrist friend. I'm sure it won't be Mrs. Walsh. I'm really very interested in seeing who it'll be this time.
There's someone coming now, I think.
Yes, now we see. No, it isn't. I am seeing things.
What's the matter with you, Kent?
What
are you standing there staring at me like that for?
Mr. White, I thought...
Come in, Kent, come in. You haven't even sense enough to come in out of the cold unless you're told to. Get in here.
Yes, certainly.
Well, what is it you want?
What is it?
Must be something urgent if you felt you had to come in person.
Well, you talk as if there was nothing wrong, as if you were all right.
Of course I'm all right.
And this room, it doesn't look like the theatrical boarding house.
Theatrical boarding house?
And it doesn't look like the doctor's office either.
Kent, do you feel all right? Are you in your right mind?
No, I'm not. I'm really mad. I know it now. Lois here said you were being held a prisoner, that you were...
Lois? Where is she?
What? Why, she was right behind me. Didn't she follow me into the house?
And how could she follow you into the house? She wasn't with you.
You mean to say Lois wasn't standing outside with me when you opened the door?
Kent, what in the name of heaven are you talking about?
What am I...
What's happened to you?
I don't know. I'm all mixed up and I can't understand it. It isn't like me at all. It's as if I were another person.
Something's happened to you. I can see that. Now, you wait right here. I've got just the thing for you.
Wait a minute, Chief. Wait a minute. Before you go. Weren't you being held prisoner in this house? Isn't that why you telephoned for the $20,000?
What telephone call? What $20,000?
What 20...
Kent?
You said you had something that would straighten me out.
Yes?
Well, get it, will you? As quickly as you can. I'm sure I need it now.
All right, I'll be right back.
I wish I could get straight on this. I never had anything like this happen before. Usually I can see right through these things, no matter how baffling they are. But this thing doesn't seem to have any beginning, and I'm starting to wonder whether it's going to have an end. Oh, Chief,
Still waiting, young man? I thought you left a long time ago.
Mrs. Walsh, the boarding house woman.
What's that, young man?
Where have you come from? What are you doing here?
I live here. This is my house. I rent rooms to people.
This is the theatrical boarding house?
Of course it is.
Well, what happened to Mr. White?
Mr. White?
Yeah.
We have no Mr. White staying with us.
No, Mr. White.
We have a Mr. Black.
Yeah, of course. Yes, you would. And now, wait a minute. Now, wait. I'm not crazy. I know that.
Oh, but you are.
You. Dr. Hendricks, where'd you come from?
I have a perfect right to be here, young man. I live here.
But this is impossible. First one of you disappears, then the other, and now you're both here.
Young man, I told you before that you're suffering from an aggravated case of false memory.
I know what you
Now, you must believe me. Everything is all right. Sure. Everything is sane and normal, except you.
But that can't be, Doctor. I'm not just an ordinary person.
Of course you're not an ordinary person. You're quite remarkable. But even a man with your remarkable powers, Mr. Kent, has a, shall we say, a crack-up now and then.
No, listen to me.
No. Listen to me.
No, but, Doctor...
You're coming into the next room with me. It's my office. We're going to have a little chat.
Look, will you
No.
wait
Come along. I should have insisted on this when you were here before.
Doctor!
Come along now.
All right.
Right into this room. In you go.
Yes. What in the world? Mr. White. Lois. No. Okay, Dr. Hendricks. You're right.
Happy birthday, Kent.
Happy birthday.
I hope we didn't fool you too badly.
Wait, I don't get it. What do you mean, happy birthday?
Mr. White, I think Clark's entitled to an explanation.
Yes, and I'll give it to her. It's happy birthday for you, Clark, because today you've been with the Daily Planet exactly 2 years. And I felt that we ought to do something to show our appreciation.
Well, you certainly did. You almost drove me out of my mind.
Yes, I hope we didn't go too far with our little joke, Kent. You know, sometimes these practical jokes do get out of hand, but you have to go through with them. It was my idea. You see, ever since you joined the paper, you've been so almighty successful in solving crimes that we decided to give you a mystery you couldn't possibly solve.
You certainly succeeded. Gee, I suppose in the 24 hours I was away from this house, you repapered the room and changed the furniture and everything, huh?
That's right. A little expensive, but worth it. But now look here. Everything practically explains itself. Right now, we've got a birthday cake to dig into and plenty to eat and drink. And, of course, some of the boys have to hurry back to the office. So come ahead, Kent, and cut the cake. By that time, Jimmy ought to be here with the present we have for you.
Present, eh? Well, I sort of feel I deserve it after what you all put me through.
I got to hand it to you, Kent. You certainly held on to yourself with an iron hand. Superman himself couldn't have controlled his nerves better than you did.
No, I really don't believe he could have.
And so ends another Superman mystery.
Don't forget, tune in again for the next thrilling episode with Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
A bird. It's a plane.
It's Superman! Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing